All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm out here in the orchard today, and I wanted to show you what I got going on here lately. I got this apple tree that's right over here to the right. This tree right here, that is a Smith apple, and that's Smith of Mississippi. That's not your Granny Smith apple. This is actually a normal um, apple that will turn a blush red, sweet apple. It's not a sour apple. I planted this tree last year, and it's loaded up with buds, and it's getting ready to bloom, and it performed magnificently last year. I'm excited about this apple. I'm ready to see what it tastes like. I hope that it will at least set a fruit this year, and we'll see what that tastes like. Now, over here on the other side of the golf cart, this tree that's right here, this is a shell apple. And this shell apple was bred up in Appleton, Alabama, here in Escambia County, Alabama. And it's starting to bloom also, and it's blooming a little bit earlier than the Smith apple that I got over here. It didn't grow as much as my Smith apple did, but it's doing okay. I'm excited to see what that apple tastes like, because that was actually bred right here in the same county that we live in here in Escambia County, Alabama. I started looking at apples and getting a little bit more research in to see what grows well here. And I started looking at the old southern bred apples that were located on the old farms and homesteads that are not sold in stores, and you can't find them anywhere. And I ran across on one of our Facebook groups, and I can't remember the name of the group right now. It's about 5 names long. I'll call it out in a minute if I can remember. But he had on there several cuttings of apples that do very well for this area. And let me bring you over here to the back of the golf cart, and I'll show you what I got. Now, he had a good sale going on. I believe it was $2 a piece for these cuttings. So what he sent me was Dixie Red Delight, Hawkeye Delicious. Now, Hawkeye is your delicious apple, but this is supposed to be a better tasting apple, but it doesn't make store quality apples, but it's a better apple. Horse, Cox Winter, Hawaii, Aunt Rachel, St. Clair, and Sebren. And I also ordered a 3 pear variety, Maxine, Leona, and Ayers. So I'm excited to get these onto my tree. Now, what I did is I bought this Fuji tree that's right here, that's in this bucket. And I bought that because it has quite a few limbs on it that I can graft to. Now, if you look, yesterday I put some grafts on here. I got a gala. This is a gala right here, a gala right here, and this is an Anna, and I got one Anna right down here. And then so I got some grafts started on that already. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one stick of each of these variety that I can fit on here, and I'm going to put it on this Fuji apple, and we're going to see how this thing does. And hopefully it'll produce a nice apple tree that has, all my different collector of heritage apples on it. So that's the object here. Now, I don't know how this thing is going to do with all these grafts on it, being that it's still in the bucket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably come over here to my Smith tree, and I'm probably going to pick a few limbs off of that, and I'm going to graft to this tree, if nothing else, to at least hold that variety until I can get another, maybe this Fuji, up and growing strong. And if these grafts don't take, then I can take them off of this tree next year and try to regraft again next year onto this tree. And then I'll make a decision whether I want to keep all those different grafts on my Smith, or if I want to put them on the Fuji. So now the pear varieties that I have here, the Maxine, the Leona, and the Ayers, I did the same type of thing. I went over here and I bought a Kiefer pear. I don't like the Kiefer pear. It's not my favorite. My mom has one of these. I got a lot of these pears that are readily available. But I bought this tree because of the disease resistance that we have here in South Alabama and the northern Florida area. This is pretty much a bulletproof pear tree. And so I had one gentleman give me some Leona cuttings. So I grafted a Leona to that. And then this is Southern Bartlett. I grafted Southern Bartlett right here and a Southern Bartlett right up there. So we're going to see if these take. I sure hope they do. We're going to take those other three varieties and we're going to graft them onto this. I also have a cutting of Orient pear and a cutting of I can't remember, it's another Oriental type pear that I'm going to graft onto this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this camera and I'm going to get set up, and then I'll show you how I do a graft. There's several different ways to do a graft. You can put them on get on YouTube and look, and there's, everybody does it different. And what I'm going to show you today is another way of doing it that's different. But I need to get these things on here quick because I don't know how long it's been since these cuttings were taken, and they need to be taken, and they were mailed to me, so they need to be put onto a tree quickly before we lose the vitality of them. But I'm going to use this grafting tool here. It's an Omega grafting tool, and I'm going to show you how this thing works. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera and we'll be right back. Okay, so I got my Omega tool, and the reason they call it an Omega tool is there's a blade in there and it's shaped like an Omega symbol, and I'll show you that in a second. All right, the next thing I want to graft, what I did is while the camera was paused, I reached up here and I grafted this Aunt Rachel just for my practice before I turned the camera on and did it for you guys. So what I'm going to do is use this tool. Got it off eBay for like $15 to $20, I don't know. Most people that know how to do grafting have nothing but bad things to say about this. I'm an extreme amateur at this, and I have to say that for extreme amateurs that really are not proficient with grafting, this tool does okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the stem. You want to take your grafting material, the horse, and you'll find a limb that's most close in diameter to the one that you're grafting stock to the one that you're going to graft to. So so we selected this limb here. So I'm going to take my grafting tool and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to right along where I want it to be, look at it, make sure everything is lined up where the cut's going to be. Make my cut, take this limb off. Now, if you look at that, I don't know if you can see it or not, but that made an Omega shape. What you're looking for in that, when you're making a graft, is this cambium layer, which is the live tissue that's just under the bark, but it's not the woody material. That's the layer of the graft that's going to cause this thing to grow. So I take my grafting material and I put it in here and I make the opposite end of the cut that I just made. So about right there, make the cut. And now it made an Omega shape. I don't know if you can see that or not, and try to get that into focus. Maybe along this background. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. Now it fits like a puzzle piece right onto that one that we just cut. And it'll hold right there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this paraffin, which is wax tape. It's not sticky. It's just a piece of wax material. And we'll start at the base of this cut. Give it a little stretch. Get a wrap on it to make sure it holds to itself. And then I'm going to hold this graft, making sure that the cambium layers are flush on both sides, as straight as possible, which is going to give me the best chance of this graft taking. And then I'm going to wrap over that graft. The reason you want to do that is you want to make sure no air and no moisture gets into that cut area, or it's a less likely chance that your graft is going to take. And what I'll do is I'll use this tape and I'll just wrap right on up as far as I can with this. And I like to wrap the entire graft. That keeps the graft itself from dehydrating and chances of going bad if it has less of a chance of losing moisture. So wherever this runs out at, wrap it right back on itself so it sticks. And then I'm going to take another piece and I'll start here and I'll come all the way to the end and wrap this stick entirely all the way up so that moisture can't escape out of here. Now parafilm can breathe. It allows carbon dioxide and oxygen to exchange, and then it does not allow water to exchange. So that's the best thing about using this parafilm. Now I'll take a rubber band that I cut in half, start at the base, lap over itself, get a good turn on it. Now not very tightly, but give it a little stretch and wrap right up over where you just made that union. Now what that does is that will keep all those pieces in close contact with each other. We should give this about 3 weeks once the growing season starts, and this thing starts pushing growth, and then we start seeing growth coming out of these buds. The buds will push through that graft wax, so I'm not concerned about the wax hindering the growth. But once we start seeing growth, 3 weeks after that, we'll come in here, we'll cut this rubber band, we'll let the pressure release from itself, and then we'll just let it grow from there. We won't try to take the rubber band off and risk messing up that graft. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the film off here, but that was a demonstration of how I do grafting. I'll continue on up here with wax, do a complete wrap of that, and then that's how I do it. That's how I graft these. Thanks for watching. If you're on my YouTube, or if you found me by YouTube, give me a like, give me a subscribe. If you see this on Facebook, head over to my YouTube and subscribe over there. Leave me some comments. All right, thanks for watching.